Unexpectedly crossing into the world of One Piece, Lehman awakened his divine-level work system at the beginning. Does working make you stronger? Lehman definitely can't really go to work, so let others work for him. Since that's the case, we must definitely choose the most hardworking, and also the strongest worker. Later, Lehman decisively chose the Straw Hat group. In the following days, Lehman only needs to lie flat and collapse every day to become infinitely stronger. At the same time, Lehman also occasionally conducts lucky draws to distribute some strange things to the members of the Straw Hat Troupe. Luffy. Leman, your magic is so powerful. Can you teach me? Sauron. Leman, I have taken this heavenly lock Moon Slayer. Usop. Leman, this romantic turret is really nice. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 001 Mark Armor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Tavern of Magino in Windmill Village, Donghai Novice District. At this moment, a somewhat bleak figure was sitting at the bar, drinking bitter rum alone. I'm lying down. What kind of ghost system do I have? What does it mean that I need to meet Luffy to activate it? Lyman said as he drank the wine in his hand. That's right, this person is Su Kai, who is a traveler. Of course, in the world of pirates, his name is Quentin D. Lehman. A somewhat special name, which means it's not easy for him to become a navy. After all, not everyone can become a kappa. Mainly because the name contains D, which also means that he is unlikely to reach the true high level of the Navy. Not to mention becoming a Navy and having to be a dog for the Tianlong people, Lehman was even more unwilling. Is this the only path left for me now? Helpless Lehman could only choose to be a pirate, but unfortunately, the vast majority of pirates in this world are scumbags. So now Lehman can only wait in the beginner's village for the Son of Fate, the pirate and Wang Lufei. After Wang Lufei appears, he can also truly unlock his own cheats. Unfortunately, Lehman has been in Windmill Village for several days now. Apart from getting familiar with the NPC Magino from Novice Village, he didn't even catch a glimpse of Luffy. And today is also the last day for Lehman to wait. If he can't find it again, Lehman is ready to go straight up the mountain to find the bandit Dayton. Boom! Suddenly, the wooden door of the tavern was shattered and dozens of black figures walked in. One of the slightly sleazy figures spoke up and said, "Boss, I heard that Sig was ruined by someone because he offended this tavern before. Now, his entire gang of bandits has not left a single survivor. Hee hee. That despicable guy who claims to be the king of mountain thieves. If he hadn't killed many ordinary people, could his bounty be higher than mine? It's clear that I, the fierce beast Darcy, is the strongest person in the entire kingdom of Goya." After speaking, Darcy, who bare his chest and exposed his chest hair, glanced at the people in the tavern. At this moment, the villagers of Windmill Village who were being watched by Darcy also lowered their heads, afraid of getting into trouble at this time. As for Lehman, it is very natural to follow his heart, because his current strength is at the level of a small Karami, probably unable to even defeat a mixed fish mountain bandit on the opposite side. Oh! There are so many people today. Magino, I want to drink juice. At that moment, a young man wearing a straw hat pushed the bandits away one by one, and then sat down next to Lehman. And this young man is the son of the fate of the pirate world, the Pirate King Luffy. At the same time, the sound of the system in Lehman's mind finally rang out. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the divine level work system. Congratulations to the host for successfully binding to the divine level work system and obtaining a beginner's gift package. The mechanical sound of the system sounded like a heavenly melody in Lehman's ears, but the divine level working system made Lehman very unhappy. After all, they have all traveled through the time of God treading on horses to work. Please do not misunderstand that the divine level work system is to help you practice. As long as you bind your true teammates, you can obtain 1/10 of your teammates' cultivation results. After listening to the system's explanation, Lehmann understood the meaning of the system. It turned out that his teammates were working for him, which meant that he needed to oppress his teammates next. The system opened the beginner's gift package for me. Host successfully opens the beginner gift pack. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Mark V Battle Armor Magic Modification. After the magic modification, Mark V has endless energy and can self-repair. As the sound of the system ended, Lehmann unconsciously got excited. The WC Mark armor is still a modified version, after all, which man in his past life never thought of becoming Iron Man. And such an opportunity is right in front of him, and at this moment, Lehmann just wants to say it's really sweet. The system task is starting to be released. Please bind the first teammate to the host. Once successful, a lucky draw opportunity will be awarded. Upon seeing this, Lehmann's gaze turned sinister, and he silently glanced at Luffy. And when Darcy saw Lehmann suddenly stand up while sitting, he was also startled. Seeing that Lehmann didn't make any other moves, Darcy couldn't help but feel embarrassed and angry. He didn't expect to be scared by a small white face. "Hey, the boy wearing a straw hat over there. You just pushed my little brother, so you must compensate for the medical expenses by 1 million belly now. As for you, why don't you give me a performance and then kneel down and lick my shoe," said Darcy as he looked at Lehmann. "Otherwise, both of you will die at the hands of me. This may also increase my reward of 6 million Bailey." As Darcy finished speaking, the other bandits in the tavern directly raised their swords and guns. Upon hearing this, Lehmann was immediately infuriated and laughed at. It was truly a world of pirate kings that valued human life like nothing, and he had learned it himself. "Is there a total of 6 million Baileys? That's enough for me to have a big meal." After speaking, Lehmann was not in the ink, and then turned around to take out the Mark V he had just received. The next second, a mechanical buzzing sound sounded, and the metal plates began to move slowly. With the continuous operation of mechanical devices, the appearance of battle armor has begun to undergo tremendous changes, and the metal shell is shining with dazzling light, like a huge metal beast. When completing the final transformation, a tall and powerful armor stood there, emitting powerful energy and a majestic aura. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 002 King of the Near Sea. You are listening at novelfull.audio. And when Lu Fei saw this scene next to him, he immediately turned into Star-Eye and said, "Wow, that's amazing. Si-Gua-E." But Darcy and the other bandits were extremely panicked when they saw this scene. "Well, big brother, this shouldn't be the legendary treasure devil fruit. People in the world of pirates are accustomed to blaming devil fruit for things they cannot understand, but Darcy clearly does not want to believe it." With a single slap, the bandit who spoke fainted. "Mad, what a legendary treasure. What a demonic fruit treading on a horse. I only believe in the knife in my hand." After speaking, Darcy suddenly stabbed Lehmann with a thrust. Seeing this, Luffy said, "Hey, you despicable guy is actually sneaking an attack on someone." Lehmann stood there dumbfounded, as if he had not reacted at all. "Go to hell." After the roar, Darcy's knife pierced directly into Lehmann's chest. Bang! A sound of metal collision rang out, but unfortunately, Darcy's blow could not break through Lehmann's defense at all. Lehmann. It's my turn next. In an instant, the dazzling golden energy gathered in Lehmann's hand, shining so brightly that one couldn't open their eyes. With a loud bang. Just a simple palm cannon shot, and Darcy flew out completely upside down, even knocking over several mountain bandits before stopping. Lu Fei next to him exclaimed in surprise, "How impressive. Just a simple blow, this mountain bandit named Darcy, who is offering a reward of 6 million Bailey, hates the Northwest." The other bandits immediately scattered and fled upon seeing it. How could Lehmann miss this opportunity when he saw this? After all, the tavern has such a small door, and dozens of mountain bandits must be unable to escape. Hee, all of them will die for me. In an instant, Lehmann disregarded everything and fired his palm gun and chest gun for free. 5 minutes later, the mountain bandit who had just entered and caused trouble was completely killed or injured, and of course, Magino's tavern was also in ruins. Leman sang, "You're not injured, are you?" Seeing that the matter had been completely settled by Lehmann, Magino also showed her concern. Unfortunately, Lehmann is not interested in his wife. The key is that he doesn't want to provoke red hair for the time being, so he just nodded coldly. Unfortunately, Lehmann overlooked the existence of Wang Lufei. I saw Luffy become entangled around Lehmann's body like a water snake, or rather on Mark V. Directly breaking the high cold personality created by Lehmann. Wow, Sister Magino, did you see it just now? This armor is so beautiful, but the key is it's the kind that can transform. Are you called Lehmann? Can I try your suit of armor? After speaking, Luffy was very familiar with picking up Lehmann, as if he could directly take off Mark V. Lehmann naturally grabbed Luffy and threw him aside. Then he dragged Darcy's body to Magino's feet like a dead dog. Because your tavern was damaged in the battle just now, but this guy's head is worth 6 million pele, let's consider it my compensation. Upon seeing this, Magino immediately bowed and said, "Thank you, Lemanson. The great difficulty is actually unnecessary." Upon hearing this, Luffy immediately wrapped around Lehmann like a dog's skin ointment. "You're actually a pretty honest guy, so I've decided, you're my first crew member. We'll go out to sea tomorrow." After finishing speaking, Luffy picked up the juice and left here, seemingly ready to set sail. "Who the hell did you agree to, you bastard?" Unfortunately, Lehmann is playing the piano to the cow and has not received any response from Luffy. Congratulations to the host for successfully completing the task and receiving a lucky draw opportunity. Seeing this, Lehmann could only reluctantly accept it and felt very embarrassed to treat Luffy as his own blood bag. No, it's my own teammate or partner. When the time comes, as long as the system is connected to Luffy, then your strength will not increase casually in the future. Thinking of this, Lehmann is no longer confused. After all, with the system, he will eventually become the strongest in the world. The next day, the villagers of Windmill Village all gathered on the coast, ready to bid farewell to Lu and fly out to sea. Of course, except for the village chief who has always disliked pirates. And Lehmann is still familiar with Mark V, after all, it's really handsome. But more importantly, when Luffy goes out to sea, the king of the near seas will take action, and Lehmann is just in case. Villager 1. Luffy, you must make a name for yourself on the sea. Villager 2. We will have the police read the newspaper. Maggie said, are we leaving soon? Luffy. It's really sad. The village chief saw that Luffy had already set sail and could only knock on his crutch fiercely. Surprisingly, he is another guy who went to be a pirate. This is really a shame for our village. Poor Leman has only been here for a few days and still has few friends. If it weren't for Magino making a bento for Leman would have died in embarrassment. Wang Lufei said, today is a great day. I will be the pirate king from now on. At this moment, a huge sea king suddenly appeared from the deep sea, as the waves rolled and the sea churned, as if the entire ocean was trembling. Then I saw the broad scales of the king of the near sea shining brightly, revealing a terrifying majesty and power, clearly treating Luffy and Leman as food. You have indeed appeared as the king of the near sea. But encountering me is considered unlucky for you. Today, let me show you my cultivation achievements. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 003 Make a Robbery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After finishing speaking, Luffy bent and stretched his arms, and then began to frantically accumulate strength. Seeing this, the king of the nearshore also launched his own attack, with huge fins sweeping across the calm sea, immediately causing a huge wave. The sea seemed to become violent and surging around it. Rubber. Gun. In the next moment, Luffy's arm was like a big gun, suddenly hitting the head of the king of the near sea. And the massive coastal king was also knocked unconscious by Luffy's blow. Lehmann watched the play all the time and immediately took action, driving Mark V directly to the king of the near sea, and then took out a large piece of meat. Is this the meat of the Sea King class? I've been wanting to taste it for a long time, said Lehmann, throwing a large piece of meat from the near Sea King onto the small sampan prepared by Luffy. Let's eat it today, Luffy. Okay. After speaking, Luffy's eyes turned into stars again. When can you let me wear your armor, Lehmann? Looking at Luffy's immensely hopeful gaze, Lehmann felt embarrassed to refuse again, then pondered for a moment and said, Don't worry, if there's a chance, let you wear it. But don't let me ruin it. Even though Mark V has a self-healing function, Lehmann is still afraid that Luffy, the son of fate, will ruin it. Luffy screamed with excitement when he heard Lehmann agree to him. Set sail immediately. 3 days have passed in the blink of an eye. When Lehmann stepped onto the ship and gazed at the distant horizon, his heart was filled with longing and anticipation. The sea is truly vast, boundless, quiet, and mysterious, making people feel incredibly relaxed and happy. At first, Lehmann only felt the vastness and tranquility of the sea, as if he was in a completely unrestricted world. However, as the voyage continued, both Luffy and Lehmann felt the loneliness and solitude at sea, as if time had become incredibly long. It can be said that at this time, the tranquility of the sea is no longer a pleasure, but an incredibly heavy burden. Lehmann. Hey Luffy. Luffy. Ah. Lehmann. Just these 3 days, neither of them wants to say anything more, after all, it's just too boring. Especially the ship that the two of them set sail on was so small that Lehmann couldn't even start his preliminary cultivation. Suddenly, Luffy stood up with an excited expression on his face and said, Lehmann, we still have too few companions, that's why the two of us are so bored. So I've decided, after the next island, I'll definitely find another partner. Lehmann simply agreed stiffly, okay. After all, you're the captain and I'll listen to you. After dealing with Luffy, Lehmann was communicating with the system in his mind. System, didn't I have a chance to draw a lottery before? Now it's right for me. Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining an adjustable 100 times gravity chamber. Please select the room for installation. Is it a gravity chamber? This thing is quite suitable, but now my boat is just a small sampan, where can I install any rooms? Unfortunately, this gravity chamber can only be temporarily stored here in the system, and Lehmann has no choice. However, this reward made Lehmann very satisfied. After all, this gravity chamber can be used by everyone. The more partners one has, the better the effect will be. Even if Lehmann doesn't do anything, day by day, he can lie flat and become the strongest in the world. Thinking of this, Lehmann's lips involuntarily shed tears of joy. Suddenly, Lehmann felt the hull of the ship shake violently, and instinctively thought it was Luffy who was causing trouble. What are you doing, bastard captain? Seeing Lehmann angry, Luffy said calmly, Lehmann, it seems our ship has fallen into a vortex. By the way, Lehmann, I don't seem to know how to swim yet, but it doesn't make much difference whether or not I can swim in this situation, said Luffy with a sudden realization expression for Wang Luffy, who has a unique brain circuit. Lehmann has no choice, and Lehmann is not a genius navigator like Nami. So Lehmann could only put Mark V on again and then flew up with Luffy in his arms. How impressive, Lehmann. This flying armor is simply too handsome. Ignoring Luffy's envy and pleading gaze, Lehmann felt somewhat helpless. Although Mark V has endless energy, it's not a solution to keep flying in the sky. It's better to immediately find an island or boat. Luffy. I'm so hungry, Leman. Do we still have enough food? Upon hearing this, Leman immediately punched Luffy in a fit of anger. You bastard, we only took 2 days to prepare food for 5 days before you finished it. Now I'm so hungry that my chest is pressing against my back. After speaking, Leman punched Luffy hard again, but it had no effect when facing rubber fruit or Nika fruit. And Luffy suddenly became excited and danced, making it difficult for Leman to maintain his flying posture properly. What else are you doing? You stupid captain. Luffy exclaimed excitedly, Leman, I see the boat. It seems like we can eat now. Where is the ship? Where is the ship you mentioned? As pirates, it's very reasonable for us to rob. It's in that direction. Following the direction pointed by Luffy, Leman also seemed to see 2 black spots, as if there were really 2 ships. Let's go and take a look. After Leman finished speaking, Mark V on his body immediately flew towards the 2 ships with maximum power. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 004 Beauty Plan. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. As the distance between the 2 sides grew closer, Leman completely recognized the identities of the 2 ships and couldn't help but marvel at the power of world correction. The swan-like bow and the seductive pink hull, combined with the presence of the caring skull flag, are clearly the first monsters faced by Donghai Novice Village Luffy. And also the iron rod Arita with a bounty of 5 million Bailey. Now it seems that Alrita is robbing a legitimate merchant ship, and it is also the first scene of the plot. Hey Leman, let me go down quickly. I need to eat now. At this moment, Leman, who was standing at an altitude of tens of meters, naturally met the needs of Luffy and threw him directly down. The rapidly falling Luffy immediately turned into a huge rubber balloon and slowly drifted down onto the ship. Obviously, this appearance also stunned all the pirates present, to the point where Luffy was instantly surrounded. Leman paid no attention to the situation. After all, with the strength of Luffy, he could completely cope with the current situation. So Leman quietly boarded the ship and searched for the stolen treasure, Nami sauce. And Arita's pirate ship was naturally much larger than the small sampan prepared by Luffy. There were several captains' quarters and other rooms on the ship, and helpless Leman could only inspect them one by one. Mad smells so bad. How long haven't these guys taken a shower? Leman almost didn't vomit, but when he thought about the scarcity of fresh water on the sea, bathing seemed like a luxury. So these crew rooms smell like gas rooms, and it seems normal. Is it an ammunition room? This is useless. A restaurant. It's useless either. A few rooms were quickly searched by Leman, but nothing was found, with only a few 100,000 Bailey being better than nothing. Then Leman arrived at the captain's cabin of Alrita and pushed the door straight in. Suddenly, a wooden stick came towards him with the sound of breaking through the air. Bang! The wooden stick broke when it hit Mark V, and the person who had just attacked sat down because of the recoil force. The girl who was ambushing on the ground was the little thief cat Nami, who was preparing to steal the treasure of the Alrita pirates. Realizing that her surprise attack had no effect, Namaton's face became frightened and she burst into tears. Don't kill me. I don't think you're a pirate on the Yalta pirate ship. I am actually a beautiful girl who was kidnapped by them and boarded the ship. These despicable pirates ask me to clean and cook for them every day, and only give me 1 meal a day. Thank you, kind-hearted person. I really appreciate you saving me. After speaking, Nami stared at Leman with her watery big eyes, as if she wanted to melt him. But Leman in Mark V doesn't have this feeling. In the pirate world where average intelligence is very worrying, Nami's lies can completely deceive the vast majority of people. But how could Leman, who knew everything about Nami, believe her words? Even an ordinary person Leman wouldn't easily believe them. "This girl, please don't treat me like any other mentally disabled pirate," said Leman as he raised his palm and the massive energy began to gather. "Now gather all the valuable things in this room for me immediately. If you dare to hide it privately, then I'll give you a shot at any time behind you." At this moment, Leman's voice was like a demon's whisper in Nami's ear, and she, feeling helpless, could only follow suit. Quickly, all kinds of valuable things were found by Nami one by one, such as diamond-carved silver watches and exquisite knight swords, and so on. "All right, pack it up for me and I'll take it with me." In the next moment, Nami transformed into Bailey's eyes filled with anger. "These things are all my mother's treasures." After finishing speaking, Nami grabbed the long sword on the ground and fiercely swung it towards Leman, obviously trying to break through Leman's defense. And Nami's face had already shown a successful smile. After all, it is definitely the most relaxing time for people to obtain treasure, so she can definitely hit it with one hit. However, in the face of facts, Nami's attack was completely ineffective, and the long sword in her hand was tightly grasped by Leman. Then Leman said with a domineering aura, "Girl, I see you're playing with fire." Nami saw that Leman's tone was a bit harsh, and immediately became pitiful again. "Private Marseille. People. I thought you were a damn pirate, that's why I took action on you." As she spoke, Nami took the initiative to lean towards Leman, clearly intending to use her beauty trick and escape. Unfortunately, wearing Mark V, Leman's heart was as calm as water, and he didn't feel good at all, did he? So Leman hugged Nami in his arms and said, "The little thief cat Nami is a thief who specializes in stealing pirate treasures." Upon discovering that her identity was directly exposed, Nami's heart immediately became flustered. And when Leman saw that Nami had already been intimidated by him, he smirked and said, "Nami Sauce, I think the bag behind you is probably the most valuable treasure of the Alrita pirates." Upon hearing this, Nami waved her hand and smiled awkwardly, saying, "These are all personal belongings of other girls. That's why it's inconvenient for you to read them." Watching Nami unable to see the coffin and shed tears, Leman's palm cannon gathered once again. Puff. Seeing the unfavorable situation, Nami immediately threw down the treasure in her hand and became very obedient. Then Nami endured the heartache of losing her treasure and said, "Knight, I can leave now. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 005 Put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha on the ground. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Leman immediately gave way and said, "Haha. No problem at all, beautiful lady." Nami walked over with her fists clenched in anger, but her face still wore a stiff smile. Watching Nami gradually walk away, Leman said, "We'll see each other again next." "Damn pirate, I will never see you again." After a roar, Nami immediately ran away. Leman didn't care about it at all. Can the navigator who has already been delineated let you run? However, it would be better to leave this matter to the foolish captain, otherwise it would be too boring. Shaking his head, Leman began counting the treasures of the Alrita pirates. 3 million Bailey's cash, jewelry necklaces, gold and silver jewelry, some strange little things, and a few nautical charts. Of course, the most valuable one is the golden crown dug out from Nami's bag, which is probably worth a lot of money. Not bad, not bad. It can be said that I have gained a lot. It seems that being a pirate comes quickly. If I were an honest navy, I wouldn't be able to make so much money. Leman was very satisfied in his heart, but unfortunately, more than half of the treasure had to go into Luffy's belly. After all, this guy was someone who could spend 100 million Bailey on a banquet. Thinking of this, Leman felt that his path to making money was incredibly distant, and he was afraid that he would eventually become a financial fanatic. But now that he has money in his hand, Leman can finally think of buying something he wants. At the same time, on the deck of a pirate ship, Luffy meets the deserter Wong Kabi, just like in the plot. Kabi, who is this ugly and rude-looking ant? Luffy asked with a naive expression as he dug out his nose. Obviously, Luffy's straightforward words shattered the hearts of everyone present, especially the pirate who knew Alrita, who was trembling. Kabi stepped forward to cover Luffy's mouth, hoping that Luffy could shut up. I dare say this guy is doomed. Miss Alrita's 100-pound iron rod will definitely smash his head, and by the way, let's witness this bloody scene. I'm afraid there may be some time for the intern, Kirby, to do a good job of cleaning and demanding that he wipe the blood clean. Obviously, the bounty of 5 million belly worth of Alrita gave the pirates under her command immense confidence. Alrita herself was even shattered by Luffy's words, and she became furious. The boy wearing a straw hat, I will smash you into meat paste. The true meaning of meat paste. After speaking, Alrita swung a large iron rod weighing nearly 100 pounds and suddenly smashed it down. Boom! With one blow, the sawdust flew horizontally, and a large hole was also broken in the pirate ship, while Luffy dodged Alrita's attack with his agile body. The other pirates saw Luffy so agile and immediately picked up their weapons and rushed forward. Just then a strange voice came, "Hey, hey, hey. There are too many people bullying too few of you." In an instant, the dazzling palm cannon pierced through 4 pirates, which also frightened the other pirates. Luffy burst into laughter upon seeing this. "Leman, where have you been? And what's in the bag behind you? It shouldn't be food. Come on, I want to eat." "Damn, if it weren't for you stupid captain, could I have been starving all day," said Leman's anger as he rubbed against his heart. "That's not my fault, who made me hungry." "So what you mean is that I prepared less food? Isn't it? Is that right?" Luffy and Leman's indifferent questioning and answering directly infuriated Alrita. The iron rod in his hand swung out again, but this time the target was Leman. Boom! Another familiar sound sounded, and a big hole broke through the deck once again. However, this time it was Leman who took the opportunity to step on Alrita's iron rod. "Luffy, quickly beat this fat woman away. I saw food in the kitchen on the ship." If it were Alrita who had eaten slippery fruits, Leman would be willing to say a few more words. And now it's still the Alrita of the tiger tank, and Leman doesn't even want to take a second look, because if he takes another look, it will explode. Rubber rubber. Pistol. The huge rubber fist, combined with Luffy's original strength, just one punch flew Alrita out, like a huge meteor, disappearing directly into the sky. I don't know if Alrita can still eat slippery fruits or become a beautiful woman. The remaining surviving pirates knelt down from the bottom of their hearts when they saw their beautiful boss being beaten away. Leman smiled upon seeing the situation and said, "I don't believe in putting down the butcher's knife and becoming a Buddha on the ground. I'm not the Holy Mother." As Leman spoke, he gathered his energy again and said, "Now you all jump into the sea for me. Can you live to see the will of heaven?" In fact, these guys are almost certain to die if they jump into the sea. After all, this is the deep sea and there is still a long distance from the island, and this distance is enough to make these guys swim to death. At this moment, a handsome young man with a bare arm swam past the windless zone and passed by. "Damn it, do you want us to die? How could we possibly swim to land? What's the difference between you and killing us? Please, I can cook. Let me stay." Leman caught the 2 unlucky pirates closest to him and threw them directly into the sea. This scene scared the other pirates a lot and they all chose to shut up. Leman. "I'm also a pirate, and I know that most of the pirates are scum, so if you don't want to die directly, just jump in for me. Remember, if other ships come, you still have a chance to survive." Of course, there is one thing Leman didn't say, which is that the chance to survive is infinitely close to 0. And Leman's words also gave these pirates a glimmer of hope, so these guys began to slowly jump down one by one. After everyone jumped down, a timid figure approached Leman. "KB. Lemanson, is this too cruel? We can completely hand them over to the Navy. Obviously, this is what Kirby can say, but Leman doesn't want to say much, it's just that Kirby's controversy is too great. When the Navy was a deserter and still in war, it had to be said that this guy was a failure. But if it were an ordinary person, Kirby could also spare his life to save him, and this guy is not bad either. It can be said that Kirby is a Virgin Mary, and Leman hates the Virgin Mary the most. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 006 Letting dogs bite people. You are listening at novelfull.audio. These are my prisoners, I have the right to decide their life and death, let alone, I am a pirate. After finishing speaking, Leman immediately pulled Luffy away and the two of them went to the kitchen to cook together. Oh Ishi, this dried fish is delicious. Fruits, you must eat more fruits on the sea. I don't know if it's because of the connection with Luffy, but Leman feels like his appetite has also increased. Just as Leman was cooking, the sound of the system suddenly rang out. Ding! Congratulations to the host for unlocking achievement. Young man who went out to sea, congratulations to the host for obtaining a box of space capsules. Immediately, Leman became happy. This was one of the black technologies in Dragon Ball. Bulma's father created a prop that could shrink and place everything huge, making it easier to go out to sea in the future. The next morning. Donghai Shell's town. The previous calm in the town was completely shattered, and 3 unwelcome guests arrived in the town. KB timidly said, Luffy-san, Leman sang, must we find the pirate hunter Sauron as companions? Aren't you pirates? You should know that he is a man known as a Warcraft, and there are countless pirates who have died in his hands. Such behavior is too risky. After listening to Kirby's words, Luffy was very keen to capture the key information. Then Luffy happily said, oh. KB, what you mean is that this guy is a very powerful person. If possible, I want him to be my second companion. Upon hearing this, Leman nodded repeatedly. After all, Soda was recognized by Jaime as the vice captain and a true man. Don't worry. Luffy, Sauron is definitely suitable to be our companions. New companions. After speaking, Luffy took a swift step and rushed out, bringing up dust on the ground. When Kirby saw this, he ran along and followed suit. After all, he was equivalent to Leman. Kirby still wanted to stay with Luffy more. Leman sang, I will keep an eye on Luffy-san. Leman can only sigh that this thing is really a bond in fate. Luffy, who became the 4th emperor in just over 2 years, is undoubtedly the son of fate. Kekabi spent more than 2 years under the tutelage of Kapu, learning 2 moves and 6 moves, and rising from a miscellaneous soldier to a colonel in the Navy headquarters. It has to be said that Kirby is also the son of fate, a replica of Pirate King Luffy, Navy King Kirby. Putting aside the complicated thoughts in his mind, Leman decided to purchase some food first. After all, there is only Luffy and himself on the ship. If we expect Luffy to purchase food, we can only finish the food. Grandma, how do you sell these oranges? 50 bellies per kilogram. Okay, I'll take it all. Boss, how much does your booth cost? I'll cover it all. Oh. Thank you, sir. Boss, I'll have 1,000 servings of food, with a little bit of each. I'll take all of them. Lehmann's arrival ignited the market in the town of Shells, and various items were sold out by Leman. With the blessing of Bibian capsules, there is no fear of food spoilage or not being able to fit properly, so there is no need to worry about purchasing. However, this scene naturally attracted the guy hiding in the dark. I saw a street thug boy walking with unrecognizable steps and a very lewd appearance, dyed in yellow hair, leading a big wolf dog over. Behind him were several Navy officers with their heads lowered. The incoming person is a member of the future Navy. Birumabur, who is also a deserter king like Kirby, and even worse than Kirby. Hello, hello. Who allowed you, this guy, to come to Sheltstown to buy goods? Have you paid your taxes yet? If you haven't paid taxes, you will have to be fined. I see that the capsules in your hand are very good, and giving them all to me will be enough to offset your fine. After speaking, Birumabur scrutinized the Bibian capsule in Lehmann's hand, clearly considering it as something in his own bag. Obviously, although Birumabur may not have high intelligence, as the son of the East Sea Axe Emperor Monka, he can still do a good job in saving face. Leman sighed at the sight and silently took out Mark V. Sigh. I originally planned to get along with you as ordinary people, but it ended up being distant. I'm not pretending, I'm showcasing, I am Iron Man. I'm Iron Man, not going to the Rolly Island version. In an instant, gold and red complemented each other, and a metallic sensation hit his face. Leman completed his transformation. Upon seeing this scene, Birumabur was very excited and his eyes were filled with envy. This set of armor is so cool. Birumabur said as he looked at the navy behind him. You guys go grab this set of armor for me, and I will have father reward you. Unlike Birumabur's brainlessness, several naval officers knew that a person who could wear such a tall technological armor would not be weak. So several navies directly drew their guns and aimed at Leman. Although these navies were genuinely annoyed by Birumabur, they still spoke up and reminded, young master, we're probably not a match for this guy. You should hurry up and run away. Upon hearing these words, Birumabur instantly became angry and embarrassed. Damn it, you must snatch everything from him for me, or else I will have father punish you. After Birumabur finished speaking, he immediately released the rope of the wolf dog in his hand, clearly intending to let the dog bite people. The big wolf dog raised by Birumabur is also very human, running straight towards Leman, opening its mouth wide and ready to bite Leman. Seeing this, Leman couldn't bear it either. He reached out and directly clasped the big wolf dog's upper and lower jaws, then exerted force to tear it apart. Sting! In an instant, the big wolf dog was torn open by Leman like a piece of cloth, and blood soaked Mark V's body, adding a touch of allure to the already bright red color. Seeing his big wolf dog cruelly torn apart, Birumabur was scared to pee and collapsed on the ground. And the navy behind him performed much better than Birumabur, just tightly holding the flint gun in his hand and nervously looking at Leman. In the moment when a few people were afraid, Leman's figure rushed to Birumabur's side. Ah! Stepping on it, Birumabur fainted directly. This can also be considered as a small punishment from Leman to Birumabur. Then Leman raised his hands and said, let's go. Aren't you a navy? You can take me to the naval base in Sheltstown now. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 007 will kill you at any time. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Several navies saw Leman raise their hands without taking it lightly, but instead surrounded him in a semi-circular shape. One of them was to suppress the nausea in his heart and carry Birumabur on his back. Okay, we'll take you to the base now. Don't resist. Just like this, a few people walked in a very strange combination on the street, which also caught the attention of other villagers in Shell's town. Is this the outsider today? Isn't that the bully Birumabur? It seems like he was heavily educated by the outsider. Unfortunately, he is now being taken to a naval base, which is Monka's territory. Can this outsider still come back alive after entering? Damn it, are we going to be constantly oppressed by Monka like this? Justice is giving up the town of Shells. Listening to the villagers' discussion, several naval officers also wore awkward expressions on their faces. As for Leman and Mark V, his expression remained calm and he didn't care about the comments of others. And at this moment, the familiar system sound rang out again. Ding! The system task has been released. Please bind the host to a second partner and reward a lottery opportunity once. Shell's town. Within the naval base. The navy, which was suppressing Lehmann, directly let him in, while Berumabur was rushed to be treated. Seeing that there were only 2 sailors left to guard him, Lehmann directly knocked him unconscious. Finally sneaking in, if it weren't for me not knowing the way, how could it be so troublesome? Then Lehmann began to change into a navy outfit and hid these 2 unlucky people. So Lehmann, who became a naval officer, began to wander around the base. No, it should be said that Lehmann began a theft activity. Bomb. Take it away. So many Baileys. Take them away. Exquisite small musket, I have long wanted to have a musket for self-defense, take it away. The big iron pot in the kitchen. Luffy has such a big appetite, take it away. Lehmann, who entered the naval base, was even younger than his childhood. As long as he could carry anything, Lehmann was basically swept away. Completing the sweeping of this naval base may save me from worrying about daily necessities. Boom. Suddenly, a loud and violent sound rang out, and Lehmann felt the entire naval base in Shell's town shaking. I'm afraid Luffy has already overturned the huge statue of the Axe Emperor Monka, which is why there has been such a big commotion. Thinking of this, Lehmann no longer left a trace and immediately took out Mark V to transform, then jumped down from the window. Not far away in the open space, Sauron was tied up and not let go, while Kirby was kneeling with a gun pointed at by the navy in the distance. I didn't see Luffy's figure, I'm afraid this guy is still searching for Sauron's sword inside the base building. Then Lehmann's second uncle, who was also in the same style, said with a lewd expression, "Wow, it's so scary." And when KB saw Lehmann come to save the scene, he immediately sat up happily. "Lemanson, if you come a little later, Sauron and I might have died here." KB wiped away the tears from his face as he spoke. Lehmann. Navy King, it's been a few minutes since we last saw this. Upon hearing Lehmann call him that, Kirby's heart was filled with excitement. Lemon-sang also looks up to himself too much. The Navy King himself dare not think about it, but his dream is a naval general. Lehmann. Young man, then you're still too daring to think. Then Kirby immediately stepped forward to untie the rope for Sauron and introduced him to Lehmann's identity. Sauron sang, this is Luffy Sang's companion, named Lehmann, who is a very powerful person. You will know when you get along in the future. Upon hearing this, Sauron immediately became anxious and said, hey. I haven't promised to join their pirate group yet. What do you mean, you guy? Obviously, no one cares about Sauron's opinion, even Kirby doesn't care. The navy in Sheltstown naturally wouldn't watch Sauron be released by Kirby and immediately pulled the flint gun in their hand. Ding. 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 Although Lehmann's Mark V cannot withstand a rocket, it is not difficult to withstand the flint gun of One Piece world. Hello. Lehmann. Sauron. Suddenly, a black figure jumped down from the air and suddenly knocked over the 3 people on the ground. It was obvious that this was something that Luffy could do. Lehmann. Captain Idiot. At this moment, the imperial powerhouse of the East China Sea, Axe Emperor Monka, suddenly appeared and directly led numerous navies in the town of Shells to block the gate of the base. Oh. You rebels are all here, so I can catch you all in one go. In the end, you scumbags can only submit to my power. After speaking, Monka shook his giant axe a few times, appearing very domineering and leaking sideways. Luffy didn't care about Monka on the side, instead handed the 3 knives from his waist to Sauron. Upon seeing this, Lehmann immediately spoke up and said, Sauron, if you're against the navy, I'm afraid you'll have to be a pirate. And as a swordsman, your dream should be to become the world's largest swordsman, and I can help you achieve your dream. Upon hearing Lehmann's arrogant words, Sauron didn't say much and clearly felt that the guy in front of him was deceiving someone. Upon hearing this, Luffy nodded quietly and said, One Piece's companion, having a dream of becoming the world's largest swordsman should be like this. Suddenly, Sauron's face improved and he said, "You guys are really interesting. I can be a pirate for now." Then Sauron changed his tone and said, "Of course, if you make me feel uncomfortable, I will kill you at any time." This answering style is very in line with Sauron's personality, and Sauron easily took his sword from Luffy's hand. "Monka. Have you damn scumbags agreed on your last words? How dare you ignore my existence and shoot?" With Monka's command, the oppressed navy pulled the trigger one after another. Bang! 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 Amidst the surprised gazes of the crowd, the bullet hit Luffy and he began to deform. Completely invalid. The bullet fired in an instant flew back due to Luffy's devil fruit ability. With just one swift move, the navy shooting at the town of Shurs was defeated. Monka angrily said, "This little ghost should not be an ordinary person. He must have eaten the legendary devil fruit. If using a gun doesn't work, then go and chop him with a knife. Go and kill him." Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 008 enters the Great Route. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The orders of Emperor Axe Monka had a strong ruling power in the town of Shells, and upon hearing the orders, the navy picked up their knives and charged towards the few people. "Go ahead. We must defeat them. Otherwise, if we fail, Colonel Monka will definitely execute us." Luffy saw so many navies rushing towards him. Just as he was about to take action, he was pulled over by Lehmann. Lehmann smiled and said, "Luffy, you're the captain. Your opponent should be the navy colonel named Monka. As for these navies, let's leave them to Sauron. It's just right for him to move around." "Then leave it to me, Captain," said Sauron, biting into the words of Hadao. Then Sauron rushed out like an arrow from the bow, and without anyone responding, he directly knocked over 3 sailors. Of course Sauron used the back of the knife. Lu Fei exclaimed in surprise when he saw Sauron's impressive performance, "How handsome. It's truly Sauron." Leman also nodded in agreement upon hearing this, and Solon's handsomeness was recognized by Hemi. After all, there were not many people who could handle green hair. Then Sauron stared fiercely at the other navies with his terrifying eyes. "You better stand still, if you move around, I'll kill you." Suddenly, a group of navies were frightened by Solon alone, causing their morale to scatter. They all took a few steps back, their faces filled with expressions of fear. "These guys are not ordinary people. We are not their opponents, Colonel Monka." Seeing the navy under his command behaving so recklessly, Emperor Axe Monka was surprisingly angry. "Now, as the highest official of the town of Shurs, I am giving orders. The weak guys just now all shot themselves, the navy doesn't need cowardly waste. This is an absolute command." After roaring, Monka scanned the naval soldiers in the field, his eyes filled with coldness and ruthlessness. Faced with Monka's instructions, which seemed like a mental disability, many naval officers present trembled and raised their firearms, then aimed them at their own heads. Seeing this scene, Luffy, who already had insufficient brain capacity, only felt that something was wrong, but specifically, what was wrong? Luffy couldn't say it again. Sauron maintained a combat posture and said, "This navy definitely has a problem." Only KB's face was filled with tears, as if his beliefs had collapsed. "Is this the navy? This is not my belief in justice." Leman couldn't understand the reaction of these guys in front of him. Would he rather die than resist? "I really admire the mental state of these guys. Hey! Are you holding QQ candy? You only dare to shoot at yourself. Monka is also a flesh and blood person. What you are holding is a weapon. Can he withstand dozens of guns alone? And now he wants to force you to die. If I were you to directly kill Monka and then go out to sea as pirates, instead of cowardly picking up weapons and choosing to commit suicide. Obviously, Lehmann's words were highly provocative, and many navies were shaken by the situation. Especially in the face of life and death, most people do not want to die, and when they pick up weapons, they have a strong desire to resist rather than committing suicide. So the ending of Monka has already been predetermined. Monka, we want to end your dictatorship. I don't want to be oppressed by you anymore. I'm going out to sea to find One Piece. The naval officers present clearly realized that they had weapons in their hands, so they all aimed their guns at Monka. Seeing the navy, which had been oppressed by him, dare to resist, Monka was angry but also with a hint of fear. Damn it. You're in the navy, are you going to shoot your own commander? The navy headquarters won't let you go. Monka's performance made the navy present no longer hesitate, because the moment the gun was aimed at Monka, the fate of everyone was already predetermined. Go to hell, Monk. I don't know who initiated the firing signal, but the navy holding the gun pulled the trigger at the same time. Bang! 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 The pitiful Monka, this naval branch colonel had no ability to dodge and was directly beaten into a sieve. It can be said that in the early plot of One Piece, the power of the gun was still very tremendous. In a tavern in the town of Shells, Riga, the little girl who delivered rice and vegetable roll to Sauron, lay down on the table with her hands dragging her chin and quietly enjoyed Luffy's eating. Apparently, she was curious about what Luffy's stomach was made of and where the food went. As for Sauron's eating habits, they are similar to Luffy's. After all, this guy has been hungry for 9 days. Only Leman is chewing slowly, of course, it's just because Leman's strength is not enough. Working in the pirate world is the standard for strong people, and few strong people eat very little. After a long time, Sauron finally recovered and said, "Ah. I'm finally full. I've been hungry for 9 days and finally recovered. But why is the captain only the two of you? What about our other companions on board?" After sweeping the food on the table in one gulp, Luffy stood up excitedly. "There are only 3 of us on board, and you are my second companion." After speaking, Luffy looked at Leman who was drinking to the side. "My dream is to become the One Piece King, Sauron's dream is to become the world's largest swordsman, so Leman, what is your dream?" Upon hearing Luffy's question, 4 pairs of eyes stared at Leman in unison, and Leman lowered his head to ponder. "It has only been a week since I traveled, and my initial goal was just to survive. Now that we have the system, partners, and the ability to embark on adventures at sea, what is our dream? I don't know. When I was in my first year of junior high school, I impulsively followed Luffy and set sail." Lehmann's explanation directly made everyone present fall to the ground, which was too impulsive, too casual. "Big Brother is the freest person in the world," said Riga, who was pouring wine for Leman on the side Luffy. "Okay, let's set off and enter the Great Route. Shell's town port." Kirby ultimately chose to stay temporarily. After all, Kirby and Leman are not on the same path. "What a big ship, I didn't expect the 2 of you to come here in such a big ship," said Sauron as he approached and patted the wooden hull. Leman, upon seeing this, was an awkward group. Sauron was filming someone else's merchant ship, hoping that Sauron would see if Luffy's small sampan would go berserk. Let Sauron fantasize for a while first. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 009 Heroes Save Beauty. You are listening at novelfull.audio. However, it was obvious that Luffy did not have this realization, and instead had an idiot-like expression on his face. "Sauron, the small boat next to us is our boat," said Luffy, pointing to the small boat next to us as if afraid Sauron wouldn't know. "I suddenly regret my decision to become a pirate." Unfortunately, Sauron had no choice but to follow Leman and Luffy onto the ship, and the 3 big men crowded together on a small sampan, probably at any time it is possible for the situation to occur. And just as Sauron stepped onto the ship, the sound of the system rang out in Lehman's mind. Congratulations to the host for unlocking the storyline of Shell's Town, rewarding the Golden Desert Eagle with a maximum of 100 bullets. Ding! Congratulations on binding the host to a second companion, who can share 2/10 of their cultivation effects. Ding! Congratulations to the host for unlocking 100 bottles of enhanced recovery potions through a lottery. The host can spend 1 million Bailey to purchase from the system must be a high-quality product, and the recovery potion can restore the user's physical strength and the hidden damage caused by cultivation within 100 seconds. Suddenly, Lehman's heart became tense. Although Leman was now a weak chicken, he would eventually become a strong one. The battles of the strong are high-intensity and consume a lot of energy. With this potion, Leman no longer needs to worry about his battery life. After all, which man would mind his long battery life? Just as Leman was addicted to the system's rewards, he felt two unfriendly gazes staring at him. Luffy. Leman, quickly indicate the heading. I don't understand this. Sauron. Yeah. I don't quite understand the direction of the ship either. I went out to sea to find someone, but I couldn't find the way back to the village. Upon hearing Sauron's words, Luffy covered his stomach and laughed. Sauron is such a fool. Upon hearing this, Sauron immediately changed his gritted teeth and gritted his face. Damn it, you're pretty much the same, aren't you? Helpless, Leman could only rely on his high school geography level to come up with a chart and lead the two protagonists into the vast ocean. 1 day 2 days Leman himself also lost his direction, and by this time, high school geography could no longer cover Leman. Fortunately, Leman prepared a lot of food and did not experience the situation where the three of them were hungry last time. How boring. On the small sampan, Luffy and Sauron were lying on the edge of the ship in sync, while Leman was sleeping under the sail. The boring navigation on the sea made the three of them lose their guard. Bang bang bang. Help. Help us. Leman on the small sampan was immediately awakened, and in the blink of an eye, he saw 3 ferocious-looking pirates pouncing in the sea. But Sauron and Luffy, who were extremely bored, directly rescued these 3 guys. Of course, the next part is the familiar plot, ha ha ha. Thank you for saving us. Now leave the ship behind. We are subordinates of Lord Bucky the Joker. If you don't want to die, be quick. Seeing that these few were as rampant as in the original plot, Leman gave Sauron a direct glance. Upon seeing Leman's signal, Sauron twisted his neck and walked forward. Dong! Dong! After a series of punches and kicks, the 3 pirates took the initiative to paddle and directly knelt and licked Sauron. You are the legendary pirate hunter Mr. Sauron. It's an honor to be saved by you. Aha! If it weren't for chasing that despicable woman, we wouldn't have fallen into the sea, nor would we have been easily rescued by Lord Sauron. Upon hearing this, Leman knew that Nami should have taken the initiative, but he didn't know if he would encounter them on his upcoming trip. Leman. Hello. You are subordinates of the Joker Bucky, so now take me to find the Joker Bucky. Suddenly, the faces of the 3 pirates turned ugly, obviously afraid that Bucky would find out what to do. Upon seeing this, Luffy stepped forward and punched these 3 guys hard, then turned his head to Leman and said in dissatisfaction, Leman, I am the captain. Shouldn't it be up to me to decide where to go? Leman reached out his right hand and pressed down, Luffy, I overlooked your feelings as a captain. I'm sorry. Then Leman said, Captain, I want to go on an adventure to Orange Town and purchase some supplies, preferably with some vitamins. Luffy, who didn't understand at all, touched his chin in a right-hand gesture, then pretended to have a sudden realization. Yo she. Let's go to Orange Town. The 3 pirates could only silently obey when they saw this. After all, they were the forced side, unable to resist, so they could only enjoy it silently. Okay, let's go to Orange Town now to find Captain Bucky. Just as Leman and his companions were rushing towards Orange Town, there was also a big riot in Orange Town at this moment. I saw a beautiful figure running on the street, with more than a dozen ferocious pirates chasing behind it. Damn woman, you have the guts not to run away. Thief's wife. Quickly hand over the chart in your hand to me, otherwise Captain Bucky will definitely feed you to the lion. Obviously, that beautiful figure was none other than Nami. The chart of the Great Voyage, how could I let go so easily? Thinking of this, Nami's speed was even faster, trying to distance herself from the person behind her. Unfortunately, this is the home ground of the Bucky pirates, and since Nami is already a woman, the distance between the two is getting closer and closer. Suddenly, Nami's body turned suddenly, and her right hand pulled out her long stick and swung it. Pop! Suddenly, the two pirates were knocked to the ground, and it must be said that Nami still has some strength. Damn little girl, chase after me. The chase battle quickly continued, and Nami defeated several pirates from the Bucky pirates. Unfortunately, Nami's physical strength is decreasing, her overall speed has slowed down, and her heart is also becoming more and more desperate. She is still too arrogant. Bucky is also a great pirate with a bounty of 15 million Bailey, not so easy to deceive. Thinking of this, Nami shed tears of regret in her eyes. She had not yet saved the village or realized her dreams. Should she die like this? Just as Nami was about to give up resistance, a familiar yet repulsive voice came from her. Hey! Beauty, it seems like you're facing some difficulties. Do you need me to save you, hero? After speaking, Leman jumped off the nearby wall. Although it was inconvenient to practice on a small sampan during this period, Sauron has been persistently exercising. So Leman, who had become much stronger, dared to jump directly off the wall and land handsome. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 010 sending autumn waves in secret. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Otherwise, with the physique of Leman as a crispy college student, this would be enough to drive Leman to the hospital. Nami couldn't confirm her identity when she saw Leman's figure, but she heard that it must be that despicable guy, so she immediately pushed the boat with the flow. Captain! You're here to save me. Nami said, pointing to the group of pirates from the Bucky pirates behind her. Then you'll handle the boss and these guys. After finishing speaking, Nami turned around and ran away, decisively selling Leman. Upon seeing this, Leman calmly pulled out the golden version of the Desert Eagle. Bang! With one shot, the unlucky pirate closest to him was once again hit in the head, and was beaten to pieces. Shoot the bird with a gun, stand away from the protagonist when standing. This scene instantly suppressed other pirates, who were all holding weapons and dared not approach. Upon seeing this, Nami stopped running and watched the situation on the field with great interest. Don't think we'll be afraid of you if you bring out a gun. You only have one gun and a few bullets. We have over 20 people here. Did you kill them? Seeing that these guys were still unwilling to cooperate, Leman could only reluctantly pull out a golden version of the Desert Eagle, making it even more difficult. Unexpectedly, this scene ignited the ferocity of the pirates, and they all picked up their weapons and stepped forward. Damn it, fight it. Humph. With so many of us going up together, how many shots can you shoot? The pirate who attacked was very arrogant, obviously not considering Leman. Unfortunately, the slap on the face is coming soon, and the speed of Leman's mother being single for 20 years is not something that ordinary people can imagine. In addition, Leman always fights with her left and right hands, so is it as fast as the afterimage. Bang! 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 With two shots fired simultaneously on both sides and the powerful power of the Desert Eagle, one shot can be carried away without even needing a shot on the chest or head. 2 minutes later. The streets are filled with pirate corpses, with blood mixed directly with the soil on the ground. Then Leman turned around and pointed his gun directly at Nami. "This beautiful girl, you seem to be planning to betray me just now. You said I was your boss and wanted me to fight against these scumbags. It's obvious that you did it, but using me comes at a cost. Hand over the chart in your hand." Upon hearing Lehman's request, Nami's tense heart finally relaxed and she threw herself directly into Lehman's arms. "You bastard, isn't it enough to steal my treasure? For the sake of saving me this time, I won't argue with you anymore." Feeling the beauty in her arms shedding tears, Lehman felt a bit at a loss. After only seeing each other twice, she threw herself into her arms and cried, especially feeling the warmth in her arms. Lehman couldn't help but marvel. Is this the treatment of the protagonist in the novel? But at the moment, Nami was roast that the guy in front of her had put all the treasure there, and there was no Bailey. As for the desert eagle on Lehman's waist, Nami dared not move around, afraid of being detected by Leman. So two people with ulterior motives stood on the street in a friendly manner, one was a lecherous old pervert, and the other was a beautiful girl who wanted to steal treasure. "Hey, Leman, who is she? Why are you holding her together?" Without any awareness of the light bulb, Luffy looked around the two of them, making the atmosphere between them very awkward. Nami saw the situation and pushed Leman away with embarrassment. It seems that there was no gain this time. Leman. "Luffy, Sauron, this is Nami, our future partner, and also the navigator I'm looking for." Upon hearing Leman's words, Nami felt nervous like a jumping cat. "I wouldn't be a damn pirate, absolutely impossible." Leman knew that Nami resisted pirates, so he didn't pay too much attention. However, Nami's loud voice caught the attention of others. "Invaders. Several invaders, go report to Lord Bucky quickly." "Sauron. Do we need to kill them?" Luffy asked with a dull expression, "Why do you want to kill them?" Obviously, this was not aware of the current situation, and Leman and Sauron exchanged a glance without wanting to say anything more. The atmosphere in the room suddenly became somewhat awkward. Nami smiled and said, "You guys just came to Orange Town. Then come with me." Leman doesn't know what Nami's plan is, whether she wants to tie Luffy or herself up like the original work, and then steal the Bucky pirates again. So the three of them followed Nami in one direction. Of course, due to the existence of the Bucky pirates, there are basically no other civilians in the entire Orange Town. Quickly, the four of them arrived at a slightly tidy house, and Nami kindly prepared food for the three of them. Upon seeing this scene, Luffy immediately started his meal and said while eating, occasionally, "Nami, you are such a good person." In this way, Nami received a good person card directly, while Sauron looked at Nami with caution, as if afraid that Nami would poison her food. Seeing Luffy eating so happily, I happened to be able to conduct an experiment with Luffy. Nami could only secretly regret seeing this. It seems that she couldn't use hallucinogens to knock these three guys unconscious and search their bodies. Finally, when Luffy was about to finish his food, Leman and Solon each took a loaf of bread to eat. After finishing his meal, Sauron looked coldly at Nami and said, "Woman, what do you mean by bringing us to your house?" Sauron's tone was very cold, looking very impolite. Nami didn't care, instead lazily leaned against the nearby cabinet. "I am a pirate thief who specializes in stealing pirate treasures. And this time, I fell in love with the treasure of the Bucky pirates, and the Bucky pirates also had charts of great voyages. So I want you to attract the attention of the Bucky pirates group. I'll go steal Bucky pirates' treasure and charts, and then everyone will share equally." After speaking, Nami looked pitifully at Leman, her eyes also casting a hint of seduction. Luffy nodded repeatedly upon seeing the situation and said, "Nami is a good person, and also the navigator you have set your sights on, Leman." Seeing that Luffy had no idea to speak again, Sauron stepped forward and covered Luffy's mouth. Although the final decision is in the hands of Captain Luffy, Sauron sees that Leman and Nami are more familiar, so let's listen first before making a decision. Luffy, since we're going to the Great Route and the Bucky pirates have a map of the Great Route, then let's. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.